On this episode of Inside the Hive, he's been from coast to coast and back again, and again, and again, and again in pursuit of his NBA dream. Honored with accolades but unwanted by colleges out of high school. Undrafted after an impressive collegiate career at Harvard, left to prove himself in the Las Vegas Summer League. With previous stints on 4 NBA and 2 D-League teams, he's been mired in obscurity, only to be engulfed by insanity. Now, he's found a home in the Queen City. On this journey through the highest of highs and lowest of lows, he's always found strength in his faith and family. One blessed him with the gift to play, while the other put a basketball in his hand and set him on his path. Both have guided him along the way. This is Jeremy Lin.
I wouldn't say my dad taught me the game. If you watched him play, you'd be like, you know, he could refine his skills here and there. But the biggest thing about my dad was he put the ball in my hands and he played with me hours and hours every day. And, you know, we would just play with each other, play against each other. We had so much fun playing. It was, you know, I had 2 brothers, so, you know, my mom would stay at home and then us 4 would just run out to the park and run out to the YMCA. I'm talking 7 days a week, 4 hours, you know, like we're out there all day. You know, when we got to high school and we had, you know, my brother got a car, we'd leave the lights on so that you could still play outdoors. My philosophy that my parents always taught me was just, you know, work your hardest and trust God with the results. And so playing basketball, getting in the gym is what I love to do. It's what I've always loved to do. And, you know, I kind of dread the day I can't play anymore.
Lin's talents were evident at Palo Alto High School, where he led the Vikings to a Division II state title in 2006 and was named Northern California Division II Player of the Year, with his biggest fan, his mom Shirley, firmly in his corner.
My mom was a team mom, and she just drove all my teammates and everything, and so she was so supportive. And then she spent a lot of, my parents spent so much money just letting me play, you know, AAU, which is really expensive. And so, you know, some of my extended family, some of her friends were just like, dude, you're wasting your money, you're wasting your time. I know, I understand, I get it, he likes basketball, but, you know, he's not going to be able to, you know, raise a family off of it. And then once I got to Harvard, everyone, you know, started calling my mom again and was like, hey, so, you know, about that, what sport can my child learn to get to Harvard? You know, it's just so funny how, like, the roles reverse. So I might be the only person who was like, Harvard was my last option. Like, I did not want to go, to Harvard because I didn't think I'd have any friends there. I thought everyone was going to be, like, way more intelligent and, like, you know, talking about politics and stuff, and I wasn't sure if I was going to fit in. And then 2, it was really far away. And I just loved California, so basically every other option kind of fell through, and then I ended up like, and my parents the whole time were like, Harvard, MIT, trying to push me to Harvard or MIT, and finally everything else fell through. And I think that was one of the things to me where early on I just realized, like, hey, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. In my freshman year, I averaged like 3-4 points a game, and like literally at our games was like 50 people. And by the time we left, it was just packed, like tickets sold out, like that. And you know, within 10 minutes of being open, and it was just a madhouse. And so, for me to see that transformation, and I can't take credit for it at all by any means. Like Coach Amaker did a huge job of bringing in different guys, and my teammates, you know, some of my closest friends today. You know, to see that happen was just real special.
Despite averaging 16 points and over 4 rebounds and 4 assists for the Crimson in his senior season, and being named a finalist for the Bob Cousy Award given to the nation's top point guard, Lin's name wasn't called the 2010 NBA Draft.
And, you know, I knew there was a chance I wasn't going to get drafted, but when it didn't happen, I was crushed. And me and my family went to Wingstop, ordered like 100 wings, a bunch of fries, and like I hadn't eaten anything unhealthy for super long because, you know, the draft process and everything. And I just went off and probably ate like 40 wings and like a bunch of fries, and like I was like, man, I was so upset. I was so upset. Yeah.
Following the draft, Lin's options were limited but not exhausted, as Dallas general manager Donnie Nelson called to offer Lin a spot on the Mavericks Summer League team.
So before it even ended, Donnie Nelson had called me and said, I want you to play for my Summer League team. So, but in my mind, I was just like, man, like, I'm going to play Summer League, and they had Roddy Boubois and Dominique Jones, their last 2 years picks. One was a point guard, one was a shooting guard, and I was like, all right, you know, the writing's on the wall for me. But, you know, that was the only Summer League option I had, and my agent was like, you got to go. and you just have to kill it in Summer League. And I actually didn't kill it in Summer League. I only killed it in one quarter, but it was good enough, and it drew enough attention for the Warriors to sign me. So.
While in Golden State, Lin formed a special bond with current Hornets assistant coach Stephen Silas, who held the same position with the Warriors and helped Lin transition to the NBA.
Especially being in the Bay Area where they have such a vast Asian population, and him being from that area, it was tough for him. And, you know, he was like the 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th man, you know, and didn't play very much. Coming from an Ivy League school to the NBA the next season, and really having the rookie adjustment, let alone, you know, the cultural adjustment as far as the outside looking in, and learning how to play. So what we did is, you know, every day we'd be in an hour and a half before practice starts, and we just work on his game, different parts of his pick and roll game, his shooting, his little floaters, and where he could learn, you know, how to be a point guard in the NBA. And little did we know, 6-7 years later, we'd be back together, and all the Linsanity stuff happened, and it's great to see.
Yeah, I think, you know, I think if I didn't have that love for the game, I probably would have stepped away or not have made it. And I am smart enough to know that, you know, even though I am talented and even though I put work into it, that doesn't mean you're going to make it, you know.
Lin quickly developed a fan base of Warriors fans as the first American of Chinese or Taiwanese descent to play in the NBA, and received a standing ovation when he checked into Golden State's first preseason game of 2010 at Oracle Arena in the fourth quarter.
Honestly, when I stepped on the court, like, you know that feeling of just extreme adrenaline? Like, it was excitement, disbelief, anxiety, extremely nervous, super thankful. It was just everything, and every type of extreme emotion all mixed into one. So for me to finally be there and to be in that same gym that I grew up like always wanting to go watch Warriors games at, I mean, it was just so surreal. The first few months of the season were disastrous. So I was like airballing shots and everything, just really, really nervous. So when you talk about pressure, that to me was another progression that I had to make in terms of taking that pressure off of just, you know, feeling like I'm in the spotlight.
Lin averaged just 2.6 points and 1.4 assists in limited time with Golden State his rookie season, appearing in 29 games. Over the course of the season, he was sent to the Warriors D-League affiliate, the Reno Bighorns, on 3 separate occasions. Lin impressed in a combined 20 games in Reno in his 3 stints, averaging 18 points, almost 6 rebounds, and nearly 5 assists, and was named to the All-NBA D-League Showcase first team. But his time with the Bighorns was not easy.
Because the D-League was different back then, too. It was like such an extreme. You know, you're talking about the NBA, private planes, unlimited food, you know, buses, you know, extravagant buses and hotels and fans everywhere, to, you know, the exact opposite. You know, it was definitely tough, and I definitely had times where I thought, you know, this might be it, or if I get sent back to the D League, like, you know, I don't want to do it anymore.
After being waived by the Warriors prior to the start of the 2011-12 season, Lin was claimed by the Houston Rockets, but was waived again after 2 preseason games.
When I went to Houston, it was nice to see that there was more interest, and that, you know, the time that I had put in the D-League did bring some more attention, and other people were actually excited about it.
Lin wasn't without a job for long, though, as the New York Knicks claimed him off waivers 3 days after getting cut by the Rockets as extra insurance for a beat-up backcourt dealing with multiple injuries.
Well, so going back to New York was, you know, I had talked about D'Antoni calling me into his office, and that was my best workout. That was my best workout of the summer during the pre-draft process. And so I knew I had their attention. I just didn't know how much they really liked me, because they ended up not drafting me, and they had 2 second-round picks. You know, when they picked me up off of waivers, we were actually surprised, because we hadn't really heard from them, but then we were also like, oh, it makes sense because of the year before. It was just one of those situations where I was like, oh, like, when do I get my chance? When do I get my chance? And then they sent me to the D-League, and I was like, whew. Oh man, here we go again. Because if you don't play well there, then it's like, all right, well, you know, everything, now you're back to square one almost. I'm Jeremy Lin. This is Inside the Hive.